Okay, and welcome to the bonus features section for Return to Boothill. I'm your host, writer and director, Wesley Critchfield. This story had an interesting origin. If you listened to our recording of Gale, which was our previous show, you actually heard the origins of this story, or at least part of it. Rick Spavero, who's one of our actors, and I were in the studio recording his lines. He was playing the part of George Travers. He's the main character in that one. If you have not heard Gale, I highly recommend you listening to it, but it's not going to cause a problem if you go ahead and listen on here. No spoilers. He and I were playing around and trying out different things, and he dropped into this voice from, I believe it was Dragon Ball Z, and it reminded me sort of a Western scenario. In fact, let's go to the tape, and you can go ahead and hear that right here and now. We won't make you go listen to Gale just to hear that piece.
He basically is like, now you're messing with the champ. I'm the one who beat Cell. George, you killed your wife. I'm coming for you. You know, it's kind of almost like a Macho Man-ish style, but if you want to fight the champ. So, yeah, that'd be funny. All right, let's get back to him.
Okay.
Yeah, but if you ever did that, Wesley, something like that, oh my gosh, I'd be...
It's going to fit into like a Western or something kind of.
Or like that, yes. Oh, that'd be great. I'm calling you out, McFly. Right? You're nothing but yellow.
Yeah? Did you call me?
Darn right I did.
So after that, it got me thinking about what I could do for a Western. Some way of using that voice. Well, for a couple of weeks, nothing really came to me. Then my brother started watching the classic series of Alfred Hitchcock Presents on Netflix. And while I've not actually seen the episode itself, my brother told me about an episode where there is a man who is killed, and he is given one day to go back in time and find out who his murderer was and perhaps stop the murder. Well, it kind of was a lousy story because the way things turned out, he ended up being murdered again, and in the postscriptum, they basically say it was his wife or whatever it was. I don't really remember what the solution was on the story. And I thought that was kind of an interesting idea, but it was kind of a lousy telling of the idea. And so that got me thinking of a man who was killed and then came back to life and had a chance to solve his own murder. Well, right after that, that got me thinking, and that was about it. That was the creation of this story. I had the idea of a man walking into the bar, sitting down at the bar stool, and saying, "I'm here to find the man who killed me." It occurred to me that one of the lesser-known reasons for somebody to commit murder is because somebody actually did something nice for them. Somebody actually did a kindness. Usually it's out of revenge or jealousy or some other thing along that line. Something that they expect to gain out of it because they were taken from or so on like that. Even as the bartender Cincinnati say, what did he do? Take your wife, your girl, your land, etc., etc. But my thought was, what if somebody did something really nice for you and it turned out you were the kind of person who basically felt that the world owed you a living, and that if you were a bad sort, you might go after them and try to take everything they had instead of just what they had given you. And that was the way I came about to having Peggy be the murderer. I also thought that that would take away from the suspicion of her being the killer. I don't know what you guys thought, but I thought I covered it up pretty well, and made a couple of misdirects there that would hopefully lead you away from thinking that it was her. Of course, Frank Chaney was obviously too much of a bad guy to be the bad guy. He was obviously going to be the Scooby-Doo type villain, if you will, where, you know he's the most suspicious character, so of course he can't be the killer. The ending actually came about, the actual ending as far as Cookie and him talking. Originally, I had plans that perhaps when Tom actually solved the murder, he might, have a couple of minutes to say something, and then he would just actually turn to dust on the bar stool or whatever in the bar, and they would see him, just fade away or whatever. I was leaning towards a more horror-based ending on that, so that you would have just all of a sudden there's the skeleton, and he just turns to sand or whatever. But my mother and I got to talking, which we often do when I'm writing a story, and she thought it would be better off if he walked back up the hill and disappeared into the mist. And that leaves some question as to whether he was actually a ghost, or like we said in the story, was he, somebody out for, justice. I like a little bit of questioning in there. It makes it so that it's up to you. Did he really come back from the dead, or was it that it was his brother, or something like that? Giving answers, answering most of the questions, but not answering all the questions. The names of the characters are quite interesting as far as that goes. If you are a big fan of Westerns, you will notice a lot of drawing from other characters and from other stories. For instance, Frank Chaney, which is Frank Miller from High Noon, and Tom Chaney from True Grit with John Wayne. Tom Stoppard's name comes from the names of the two main characters in The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. Cookie's name actually comes from two actors that used to be on Gunsmoke, Ken Curtis and Dennis Weaver. Little nods to names from Westerns are peppered throughout the story, such as Miss Blake, obviously Kitty Blake from Gunsmoke. Mr. Brennan as the bartender that was there beforehand. That's obviously a salute to Walter Brennan. The name came up in the story of Mr. Brennan leaving with Jeff Webster to look for gold up in the far country. That, of course, is a reference to the James Stewart Western, The Far Country. The name Mel Garner, you will notice he is a card player. Well, that, of course, is the two men who played the character of Maverick, Mel Gibson and James Garner. Cincinnatus, the barkeep, is a reference, the name itself is a reference to the TV series of Daniel Boone. He was the barkeep and the tavern keep. Basically, the only name in the story that wasn't necessarily a reference to any particular Western is Peggy, pistol packing Peggy, and that was just so I could have the PPP sound, because I'm a big fan of alliteration. Initially, I had planned to use a couple of songs at the beginning, stuff that would be located to the time of the story, and the fact that Peggy is supposed to be a singer in the tavern made me think it would be nice if we could actually get a couple of songs from Peggy. I hadn't written it all at that time, and I was not sure how I was going to work things. Well, that led us to Kendra Akers recording a couple of songs. Now, she has a beautiful voice and is a wonderful singer. So at the end of this track, there will be those 4 songs that she recorded for us. 500 Miles, Swing Low Sweet Chariot, Streets of Laredo, and the Wabash Cannonball. They are all done with just her and the guitar, and that is the way you would have probably heard it in the tavern back in the day. Unless, of course, the Melodeon had the track of that song, which, of course, would have been a piece of paper rolled up in the machine at the time. So that's a quite possible way you might have heard it, but we're going to take it back, and you're going to hear those songs exactly as they would have been sung 200 years ago. So I think that's enough from me for the moment. Let's get to some bloopers, and then on to Pistol Packin' Peggy singing her songs.
Coming right up. Coming right up. Coming right up. Coming right up, y'all. Ooh, ooh. Bacon's repeating on me here. And the more you know, burp, 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 burp. I've never had a bad experience with bacon before.
She weren't like that last year. Leastways so that I knew. Oh, I'm trying. Leastways so that I knew about it. Sorry. Yeah, the S. So's. Yeah, that apostrophe threw me off. Sorry about that. I was like, oh. I'm like, what am I saying here? And besides, man's changes predilections?
Yeah,
predilections. Oh, God.
You can say predilection or predilection.
Man can change his predilections, ain't he? Okay. Yeah, I do predilections. Okay. So we'll do that whole she weren't like a take a shot at Peggy here. Okay, I'll do that line again. Ready?
Sure.
Okay.
All right, so let's go ahead and do that from
the top?
Yeah, from the top of there, which was
Dabbling women, folks.
Right.
I know, unbelievable. Who needs them?
Women, you can't live with them, and you can't live with them.
Exactly. Oh, man.
Well, I've only been here about 6 months myself. Took this place over from old man Brent when he decided to go and try his fortune with Jeff Webster up in the far country. Is that good enough exposition for you, Mr. Stranger? Try his fortunes with Jeff Webster. Oh, my. Weren't hardly no gold here in California. Won't hardly be no gold up there neither. I'm a fan of double negatives, aren't I? Wait, no. Weren't, no, won't, no, neither. It's a quintuple negative. It's on the house to newcomers, but if you'll be wanting a second, you'll need to pay for that one. See, that's how you do it. Set the hook, reel 'em in. First one's free.
See, I was performing here at the tavern much as I am now, only Mr. Brennan, he wasn't no kind with payment. I had a career once, but Stromboli, he put it everywhere the Pickerton. Peggy up, Pickerton. Ah. Okay. I had a career once, but Stromboli, he put it out everywhere that Piscobal packing Peggy. Okay. Yes. Oh, boy. Stand away from that door, Cookie. You above all I've got no reason to kill. Oh, no reason. Yes, of course he does.
But what brought you? You were there, but now you're here now. Here you go, Peggy. Come on, drink this down. Yes, unconscious woman, drink.
And now Kendra Akers as Pistol Packing Peggy singing 4 classic songs.
Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. I looked over Jordan, and what did I see? Coming for to carry me home. A band of angels coming after me, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. I'm sometimes up, I'm sometimes down, coming for to carry me home. But still my soul is heaven bound, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. If you get there before I do, coming for to carry me home, just tell all my friends I'm coming too, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me Wabash Cannonball. From the great Atlantic Ocean to the wide Pacific shore, to the green and rolling mountains, to Belle Harbor by the moor. She's modern, tall, and handsome. She's known quite well by all. She's a regular combination, the Wabash Cannonball. Our eastern states are dandy, so all the people say. From New York to St. Louis and Chicago by the way, to the hills of Minnesota where the rippling waters fall. No changes can be taken on the Wabash Cannonball. She pulled into Georgia one bright and sunny day. As she drew into the station, you could hear the people say, there's a girl from Atlanta, she's long as she is tall. She's come up from Birmingham on the Wabash Cannonball. Listen to the jingle and the rumble and the roar as she glides along the woodlands, through the hills and by the shore. Hear the mighty rush of the engine, hear the lonesome hoe bells call, as we ride the road to Birmingham on the Wabash Cannonball. As I walked out in the streets of Laredo, as I walked out in Laredo one day, I spied a young cowboy all wrapped in white linen, wrapped in white linen, as cold as the clay. I see by your outfit that you are a cowboy. These words he did say as I boldly stepped by. Come sit down beside me and hear my sad story. Got shot in the chest and I know I must die. 'Twas once in the saddle I used to go dashing. Once in the saddle I used to go gay, but I took to drinking and then to card playing. Got shot in the chest and I'm dying today. Get 6 jolly cowboys to carry my coffin. Get 6 pretty barmaids to sing me a song. Put bunches of roses all over my coffin, roses to deaden the clods as they fall. Oh, beat the drum slowly and play the fife lowly, and play the dead march as you carry me along. Take me to the green valley and throw the sod on me, for I'm just a young cowboy and I know I've done wrong. As I walked out in the streets of Laredo, as I walked out in Laredo one day, I spied a young cowboy all wrapped in white linen, wrapped in white linen, as cold as the clay. If you miss the train I'm on, you will know that I am gone. You can hear the whistle blow 100 miles, 100 miles, 100 miles, 100 miles, 100 miles. You can hear the whistle blow 100 miles. Lord, I'm 1, Lord, I'm 2, Lord, I'm 3, Lord, I'm 4, Lord, I'm 500 miles from my home. 500 miles, 500 miles, 500 miles, 500 miles. Lord, I'm 500 miles whistle blow, 100